Hi everyone, Janelle the Island TL back again. This is my future vision final vlog post. So I finished my artifact and I printed it out here. Ideally it would be bigger if I was posting it in my library, but this is what I have for now. So I will attach it as well in my blog so you can see it in a little bit of a bigger version. But here is what I have done, and I'm pretty proud of it. So basically, it's all about fostering a love of reading, and I have basically come down to 5 easy tips, steps to be able to create kind of a comfortable and safe environment in your library or in your classroom. So I can talk a little bit about this, and then I'll go into the feedback that I received from my staff and some fellow educators. So step 1 is to make reading comfortable. So this is something that is so important. You want to have your pillows, your blankets, your plants, your everything to make it feel like a safe and home kind of space. And another thing that I included was giving choice for flexible seating. So sometimes kids don't want to stay in their chair when they're reading. And even if that doesn't mean they're going to the cozy corner, it could mean they're going under their desk or under a table. And that just kind of gives them a little bit of like a safe like cocoon, or even some people have tents in their classroom, which is really cool for reading. So that is something that you can create, this cool and neat and safe and comfortable reading environment. So that is step 1. Step 2 is strewing, which I had in my feedback a lot of questions about what is strewing. So strewing basically just means to leave books along students' path. So the resource that I took this from was a video by the Ogilespi Ohana YouTube channel, and she used the word strewing, and I thought that was a really interesting word and I really wanted to include it. So I included the word strewing, which basically means, to leave books along someone's path or to leave things scattered around so that it kind of motivates the kids to just walk past something and pick up a book and read it. So for example, at home, a parent could have not just one bookshelf, but there could be different areas in their house where they would have books that would motivate their kids at home to read. And that was the example she used in her YouTube video. But for me, in my library or in a classroom, this could be, again, not just having one bookshelf, but having various areas in your classroom. In a library, there is books everywhere, but basically so that the kids are easily able to pick something up. So in a classroom, that could look like having different areas in different library areas, different book shelves, different all of those things. And in the library, that could look like having new books up on top of the shelf, or in a bin, or somewhere that's not just like tucked away in a shelf. It's kind of for more easy access, and it gives them the more like the motivation to just want to, I'm going to pick up that book and I'm going to read it. So that's basically what strewing is. It's kind of like a subtle influence of motivating your children to read. So number 3 is reading aloud, which is so important. So when I was in the classroom setting, loved reading aloud to my kids during lunch. It was like my favorite part of the day, and I knew that they felt so calm in that time. It was like, oh, we come in from recess, we're feeling busy, we get to sit down, we get to eat our lunch, and Madame's gonna read to us. I worked at a French school, so I was Madame. But now, as the teacher librarian going into these classes, I always make sure, doesn't matter if it's K, doesn't matter if it's 7, to take time to read to these kids. So I have like a bunch of different novels or picture books going all at different times in different classrooms, reading to these kids. And we always kind of do like a little bit of a brainstorming. What happened last time? What happened last week when I was here? And it just kind of builds like a community in the classroom that you're all reading the same book and you're learning at the same time, and it's exciting. And in the classroom, that's something that you can motivate to do like book studies. You can get the kids to read aloud as well while you're reading, or vice versa. So yeah, reading aloud, super important, because during silent reading, we don't always know if the kids are concentrating on their books, and we also don't know if they are understanding what they're reading. So if we're reading aloud and we're reading with them, that totally helps out. The other one, number 4, is to give choice to kids. So let them read what they want to read. So it gives them a voice in what they're reading, as well as it encourages them to read for enjoyment rather than just reading for school, for academic reasons. If you are allowing them to read what they want to read, they're going to find books that they find enjoyment in. So that one is to give choice. And number 5 is let books be the answer. So that's a really big one, because I think a lot of the time we just often go directly to our phones, directly to the computer if we don't know an answer, which is totally fine too, because we don't know everything. But if you have a book on hand and a kid asks you a question about wolves, sometimes it can be super helpful. Totally, it's helpful if you pull up a video of a wolf, but if you've got a book on hand and you're able to just refer to that book, that's amazing and really cool. And also it gives them the ability to know that they can pull out a book and find an answer as well. So I love to do that. If a kid doesn't know the answer to something or how to spell something, I first of all tell them to get a dictionary instead of looking it up on the computer. That's amazing. But to find information and to do research out of a book might feel old school, but I think it is so important to give those kids, they can find the answer in the book that they're looking through. So that's super cool. So those were the 5 things to foster love of reading. I'm sure there's a ton more, but I thought that it was super awesome to just go to 5, makes it clear and concise and easy to just quickly look at and refer to. So that is my artifact that I created. And so I sent it to my coworkers, as well as I sent it to some fellow educators who work at different schools. And I said, what do you think? Be honest with me. What do you think? And from my staff, there was some really positive feedback. For example, someone said, I love the layout, the colors, the images that you've chosen. It's great that you have images from your own library and it looks very professional, which I have images from my own library in here. And then another fellow educator from a different school said, this resource is so clear and straightforward, providing simple ways to promote and foster a love of reading in my students. I would definitely utilize it in my classroom. So that's really encouraging to hear that other people would actually use this resource that I created. And there's a couple others that I will include in my blog as well. But mainly they really loved the layout, and the fact that it's only 5 steps, and the pictures that I've included in the colors, and as well, it's a really helpful way to encourage fostering a love of reading in a classroom and in a library. So that is the resource I've created, and I think that it would be super awesome to keep creating these resources. So I used piktochart to create my infographic, and it was super simple to use. The layout was already set up for me, and I needed to implement my pictures. I of course got to choose if I wanted to make things bigger or smaller or change the font if I wanted, and then I just inputted my own information. So it made it super simple, and I think that could be a very helpful resource, piktochart, to use in a classroom, like if you were doing projects, or rather than just PowerPoint or just poster board or anything like that. This is a cool and simple way to create an aesthetically pleasing and helpful resource. So that's what I've done, and my hope is so I've already shared it with my staff, but once I have finished it, I'm going to send it off to the other teacher librarians in the district and see if they want to share it with their staff, and just use it as a resource that I can pass along to other people, because I'm passionate about it and I know that other people are as well. And a lot of people are already using these things in their classroom, so having that just thing that they can refer to that's on the wall would be super helpful for them, and also just super cool that I created it, and I am really proud of what I did. So thanks so much for joining along my journey, and that's it. Thanks.